Hi Leo, welcome to your June reading. We're that much closer. It's almost time, it's almost there. Yes. So, before we get to your season and before the summer really gets into full swing, it's time for the Lions to take a step back. Why? Well, Saturn goes retrograde on the 4th. Mercury goes direct on the 3rd, and we think, oh, there's a little bit of hope there. And then Saturn goes retrograde the next day. So what you're going to do is you're going to take all this power that you have, and you're going to sit with it. And you're going to let it wash over you. You're going to take whatever you're going through and pull back from it just enough so you have some perspective. And so you can see how you really feel. Because you may not know how you feel, but you know enough to know that things are very mutable, changing extremely fast. There is some analytical sense to be made of it, and Geminis can swear up and down they can make sense of it, but it's not making a lot of sense. And you know enough to know that it's not foundationally sound. You need to wait until things settle a bit. And when they settle a bit, what you'll find is that anyone who truly is on your level, who can match your energy, they're still there. They weren't at all taken aback in any way by your need to step back and kind of recall all your power. They're not threatened by that. And that is a very good sign. Okay? Because what that means is that whenever you need to step back and fill your cups, they're not at all upset about that. So then we have the Hierophant and the High Priestess in reverse. Now, what's that about? Well, if you have rushed into something that perhaps your instincts were telling you not to do, or if you went against your instincts, especially where there's a Taurus involved, things can get really messy really quickly because it's not just your own instincts you're going against. Usually fixed signs share certain qualities that are, let's say, the more of a more aggressive nature. Fixed signs don't like to be pushed. And if you have gone against your intuition, you have probably pushed. And if you have pushed someone who has heavy Taurus placements, they probably pushed back, or they're in the midst of pushing back. This can be incredibly painful for you. It can make you want to isolate, because what it brings to the forefront is the why. Why did I go against my instincts? Why did I push past somebody else's comfortability? And what you'll find, and because for some of you, the why that you're asking is of yourself. Why did I let my boundaries of comfortability be traversed? Why didn't I say something, especially when it came to my financial well-being? Why didn't I stand up for myself? Why didn't I say something? Why didn't I understand? Why didn't I respect my own boundaries and respect my own capabilities? One of the ways that people get you into traps, Leo, is that they bank on the fact that you believe you can do it. So very high self-esteem, very high belief in capability of self, okay? But when people get a hold of that, when they realize what that actually is, what it actually is a wonderful thing. But when they realize that it's also a tool that can be used against you, a weapon, then things can get really messy because they can ask a lot of you. And you're not going to say no because you have this high sense of self. You have high self-esteem. You're like, yeah, I can handle it. I can do it. The point isn't whether or not you can do it. The point is that nobody's supposed to be asking you that. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody's supposed to be going that far. But then you get made kind of a victim of their faux pas. They've gone ahead and asked for something more than they should. And now you've got to deliver because you are magnanimous and you are generous and you can do it. And there you go. You're in their trap. And if you find yourself slowly digging your way out of that trap right now, and you want to hate yourself in the interim, please don't. This is a huge learning experience. No need to kick yourself about this. You've really done the best you could up until now, and now you're learning more, and now you're climbing out from even deeper holes, and that's amazing. Doesn't matter how, doesn't matter why, doesn't matter what happened before. Here we are now, and we are moving forward, and we are done with the mistakes, with the past, with whatever it was. It's only when you learn what you should not do anymore and why and what was compelling you that you can truly move forward. And now that you've learned that and are learning it actively in June, you can finally move forward. And what are you moving forward from? You're moving forward from a time where someone who was just not good enough had you feeling like everything that makes you you was a flaw. It was as if they had you so turned around. They had you believing that they had this secret insight, this secret light into who you are, where they could take every good thing about you and turn it into something bad and make you feel bad about yourself. And I don't know how long this went on, and I don't know if it was when you were a kid or if it was a few years ago. I don't know how you got here. But I do know that you don't need to believe this. You don't need to stay in this energy, and you're not. You're beginning to understand that every single thing that might have been used against you was actually just something that they could not comprehend in you for one reason or another. It scares them. Now, they may have been very honest with you and said, hey, this scares me. I don't like this. And for that, you can't really blame people. If that's what's happened, you give people their space and you go your own way. But if they can't admit to you, making them afraid, making them fearful, and instead they want to be resentful and take it out on you and punish you for their insecurity and for their fear, well, that can turn really ugly. It can have you believing all sorts of things about yourself that are not true. And then, of course, you're doubting your instincts, because if someone makes you feel at your core that the things that make you fundamentally who you are wrong, well, you're not going to trust your intuition. You're not going to trust anything about yourself. And that really is the point. That's why someone would be that way with you, is to make you so deeply insecure that you could be controlled, right? So clawing your way out of that, whether it's a childhood paradigm that you've just become aware of in therapy, or an ex, or a familial situation, right? Whatever it is, it could be a best friend situation, whatever it is. Now that you're pulling back, isolating, seeing things as they are, beginning to trust your intuition again, beginning to see where the real lines are and where the fake lines were, things start to move very, very, very fast. This is the time to be resolute, okay? This is not the time to vacillate about stuff. This is not the time to go back and forth about what you think and what you don't think. And this is the time to move forward. No playing with money. No being frivolous with money. Yes, money is coming in. Yes, we love that money is coming in. But it's also coming in because of the attitude you have about it. You are able to solve problems without having to throw money at them. You're able to solve problems that seemed unsolvable even a year ago, especially Leo moons. You have this period coming up where things that just seemed like they were never going to fix themselves, You find a way, you find a person, you find an in, and that thing starts to go away. And in June, you can already feel it. Leo Sun, Leo Moon, Leo Rising, all of you, you're feeling this in one way or another. It's just more punctuated with certain placements, right? So Leo Rising here is the one that's going to feel like all this goodwill and all this good intention that you have towards other people. Leo Risings need to be really careful in June because it's very easy to take a very positive, built up reputation where everyone thinks you're super nice and beautiful and great and pleasant. And in June, you run the risk, okay, of completely destroying that reputation by losing your temper at the wrong time with the wrong people. So these blow-ups, they happen on or around the 15th. Everyone's a little bit exacerbated. Okay, you're looking more into things than you usually do. Venus is in Taurus, fixed energy. Okay, you're like, what's toxic, what's not toxic, how many toxic people do I actually have in my life? You're going through a lot in your head, and so it's easy to exacerbate you from the external, someone who's not even really doing much to you. They're just like in your space, in your face. You're just irritated all the time by them. And you may end up saying something, or someone you don't really know who they are, and they end up being someone really important. It's easy to put your foot in your mouth and destroy what is, a great reputation otherwise. So just be really careful. You don't need that energy in your life. You just don't. Now, there is this newness that has come, over all of you, whether you got a new job or a new source of income somehow, or an inheritance, or a new hookup of some kind. You just have this new direction, new job, new vibes, new phase, new look. A lot of you are going to be dyeing your hair. Success and good fortune often lead people to dye their hair darker, right? There is this kind of seriousness that's kind of starting to creep into your vibe. It's money. It's money, it's glamour, it's a little bit old school. Money in many respects makes sense to you again. You feel a kind of kinship with money again. You feel like money is on your side again. You feel like you're friends again. There was a period where it seemed like you didn't know what to do with money, or it had become an issue somehow, and there was all these stresses attached to it. But now you feel the relationship is becoming soft and malleable and flexible again, and you love it, right? You're beginning to enjoy yourself with money again. And either in this term you are able to take what you're given and elevate yourself, or you're going to take what you're given and you're going to be gauche and you're going to embarrass yourself. So one of the things that my father always says is that banda apni izzat khud banata hai, which means that you make your own respect. People only respect you as far as you respect yourself, and they only respect you as far as you respect them. And so if you want people to respect you and never embarrass you, which in some cultures, including my father's culture, he's a Rajput, he's from a clan, your respect and not being embarrassed is the only thing there really is. I suspect the Japanese will concur on this. So, apni izzat banda khud banata means that you make your own respect. You are the person who elevates you, and you are the person who embarrasses yourself by doing and saying things you should or shouldn't. And June for you is a great exercise in this, and it is not a small one. Okay, it's a great exercise in that it's really going to teach you, and it's not a small one in that the consequences are huge. Okay, you can make or break your reputation. You can fortify your reputation, or you can destroy it. You can reconfirm in everyone's mind that you are the wonderful person that they think you are, or you can turn people's stomach when they realize that maybe they've never known you at all. Now, they'll be wrong when they think that, but your embarrassing moment can be very convincing in June. So how do you stay away from that? Whenever you feel your ego kicking in, whenever you feel like you want to say that one extra thing, whenever you feel like you want to be petty, whenever you feel like you're in the right and you get to do what you want to do and you start to get all self-righteous and on that high horse, just get off. Just be quiet. Just stop. I know it's going to kill you. I know it's hard to do. I know you don't answer to anyone and you don't need to do anything. But banda apni izzat khud banata hai. It's for you. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself. It doesn't matter how anyone else is seeing your restraint. It doesn't matter what they think of it. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you keep your respect and your reputation intact. Okay? So, either you elevate yourself or you embarrass yourself. It's up to you. Now, moving forward. Health. Health can be very touch and go, especially if you have symptoms that you are not getting looked at. Again, I've been saying this over and over again. If you're having a problem with your hair shedding, get your iron checked. It might be that simple. Get your cortisol levels checked. It might be that simple. Anti-inflammatory diet, Leo, very important. Reevaluate your symptoms. Something as subtle as an iron deficiency can have major health implications if left unchecked. Don't let spending become your permanent self-love language. I have it written out here. Don't buy friendships. Don't let money become your love language, no matter how accurate it may be, no matter how true it may be. You're just so much more than that. And this is not the month to give anyone the impression that that's what it's about. What it's about is your heart and your spirit. And if you start off on the wrong foot with this weird money implication that's not even true about who you are, you'll want to play into it in June just to play into it. Don't buy friendship. Don't focus on money. Don't try to run with people who have way more money than you. Don't make these mistakes. Be exactly who you are. Be exactly how you are. And people, regardless of how much money they have or do not have, will gravitate to you because apni izzat banda khud banata. You have self-respect. If you really want to blend in with those who have way more than you, if you really want to buy your way into that world, the currency is very simple. It's not money. It's class. Behave properly. Speak less. Say less. Listen. Lower your voice. Dress more conservatively. There are ways to get into the doors you want to get, and you have all the resources at your fingertips to do so because you've got glamour, baby. You can dress up and get through any door if you're wearing the appropriate clothes. You know that. So if that's the door you walk into, if you know that about yourself and that's the door you want to walk through, why all of a sudden you're trying to throw money at the issue? Money's never been the issue. You have style, you have beauty, you have grace. You don't need these things. You don't need to throw money at this. You don't need these people to think anything more of you or less of you than you are. What you have can't be bought. You're invaluable. And when you know that and you move like that and you dress like that and you talk like that and you walk like that, that's your ticket in. You don't need to ingratiate yourself with anyone. Now, whether these are new people at work, a new group of friends, a new lifestyle that you want to adopt, or you're just looking for a total change of image, it doesn't matter why you're doing it. You're doing it, and that's okay. Let me fix these cards. I'll be right back. I love you, love you. Hi, Leo. Welcome to the second part of your reading. Okay. Let's start from that King of Wands, Queen of Wands. You are learning how to take very different parts of your personality and mesh them together in a beautiful way. But while you're doing that, you do need a little space and a little time. Any of you that jumped into something because it just seemed amazing and you went head first, you have a little bit of a reality check. Even if nothing is going on and nothing quote unquote bad is happening, you feel it. It's an instinct. It's a gut instinct. You just know that you need to pull back a little bit and reassess and maybe take another look at how you feel. Sometimes it's easy for Leo to talk themselves into something, go all in. And then even if they realize that they're no longer into it, they're very respectful of their own effort and their own commitment and their own energy that's being
used, expended. So then it becomes a matter of pride. Then you have to stay because your energy is worth the commitment, even if the commitment itself is rotten or, let's say, not beneficial to you. So, because you have begun to understand more and more how that does work against you or can be used against you, you have built in some caution, and that caution rears its head at the beginning of June and says, hey, you have been quite bold lately, and you have taken quite some risks. And for the most part, those risks have worked out. But if any of these risks have involved romance or matters of the heart, you may find that an anxiety starts to kick in as Saturn goes retrograde. Are you sure? Does this person or thing fit with the rest of your life? What does their presence reflect onto you? How do they reflect on you? How do you reflect on them? When we are jumping, feet first into something without thinking about it, these questions don't get asked and they certainly don't get answered. But when we reach a slow, contemplative, serious phase like Saturn retrograde, these questions need to be asked, especially if you're a Leo rising, because this is happening right across from you. And unfortunately, the High Priestess is like, I can't really help you with this. Right? I don't know how to help you with this. This is something that is beyond your instincts now. Your instincts have been trying to tell you for a while, but you haven't really been listening, and now it's really not up to your instincts anymore. Now this is about strength. And you have quite a lot of strength, so it's really no worry. But now it's time to set a few things straight, okay? Set a few people straight that have been really too much. If you are the one that's been too much, perhaps you have already been set straight, okay? But there is a lot of rebalancing going on and a lot of soul searching. This Nine of Cups is asking you if what you do is good and true, and does it fill you? Does it make you feel good about who you are? And if you're not doing something that does that, are you working on something else that does? Where's your creativity and your ambition and your smarts and your beauty? Where are all these things coming together to form, something, to create something formidable? And if you can easily, Leo, point to something and say, well, yeah, I'm putting all of that into this, perfect. Perfect. As long as that thing isn't stepping on anybody else's toes and it's just your thing that you're doing, inshallah, the success is guaranteed, because when one does things from the heart, as we know you always do, and there is excitement behind it, the excitement being the fuel, the enthusiasm being the fuel, it's very easy to get the simulation on your side, because these are the things that the simulation responds to. Or let's say likes to respond to, has a preference for. Okay? Now, when you figure out which one of those cups behind you is empty, you're going to go looking for how to fill it, and you're pretty sure you know how to do that. And in Gemini season, that does mean reassessing what got you here. Why were some of those cups empty to begin with? What is it that was lacking? Was it a firm direction that was lacking? Was it some sort of resolve that you couldn't quite grasp? Was it a seriousness that you thought would take away your lightness of spirit, so you never even tried it on? What brought you to a place where so many of your cups were empty because work just isn't what it should be, and no one seemed to notice? Terrible stuff. In your home life, it's very clear that you will have to start again. You will have to start from the bottom. In your friendships, it appears that there is some treachery that is exposed by this moonlight, and whether this is ongoing treachery of some kind that they, some grudge they're holding against you, or something that you're holding against them, either way, by the middle of June, that whatever it is brought to light. And there's no way to paint yourself, in good enough colors that no one will suspect you. It will be quite clear. Wherever the aggression is coming from, it will be quite clear who the person is. So, be be careful. There's a lot of exposing going on. Stay on the right side of that. Focus on the bag. Focus on the adventure. Focus on not throwing money at the problem, but instead being so much yourself that you become the money, you become the currency. That is truly an answer to so many of your inadequacies and so many of your questions, and so much of that having to do with worth and pick me, and all of that can be taken care of under that umbrella. Okay? I love you. I'm going to do the extended now. I'll see you there in a few minutes.